Everything in pool starts with one critical moment. The instant your cue stick makes contact with the cue ball. In this video, I'll share 10 tips to help you master that contact point to control your speed, spin, and accuracy. Tip number 1. Don't swing too fast or too slow. Use a range of medium speeds that you're comfortable with when hitting the cue ball. Using speeds you're familiar with will be more consistent and will provide the best accuracy. If a positioning shot requires more or less speed than you're used to, then that's probably not the best shot. If you're finding that you need to use faster or slower speeds than you'd like to use on a regular basis, then you should expand your skills by practicing those shots.
We're talking about practice, man.
Tip number 2. For those higher speed shots, use a longer backswing and a longer follow through. You might even want to increase your bridge length for the highest speed shots. A longer backswing allows you to use the same force over a long distance to create the speed. Don't use more force or tighten your grip for higher speed shots. These will just cause your accuracy to plummet. Tip number 3. Find the most comfortable weight of cue stick for you. Play around with different weights to find a cue stick that you feel has the most control when you play. Also, having your own cue is crucial for consistency. Tip number 4. Chalk your cue tip before every shot to increase the friction between the tip and the ball, allowing for better control of spin and fewer miscues. Look at your tip when you chalk to verify that all spots are covered, and don't grind your tip into the chalk. Tip number 5. For positioning the cue ball, use speed when you can, and use spin only when necessary. Shooting with anything but center top will just complicate your shot, so control your cue ball with only speed and a natural rolling cue ball as much as you can. Tip number 6. For follow shots, raise your bridge and hit the cue ball high. Contacting high on the cue ball will impart the most topspin and cause the ball to go forward. Tip number 7. For draw shots, lower your bridge, keep your cue stick level, and hit the cue ball low. Contacting low on the cue ball will impart backspin, and depending on the amount of backspin and distance, there will be different effects. Too little backspin or too much distance will cause the cue ball to turn over into a follow shot. Just the right amount of backspin and distance will cause the cue ball to stun and travel down the tangent line. Even more backspin and shorter distance will produce a draw shot, with the cue ball bending backward. Tip number 8. If you must use spin, use top or bottom when you can, and only use side spin when necessary. If you remember any of these tips, remember this one. Stay on the vertical axis. Using side spin creates all sorts of problems that you really don't want to account for, unless you're an advanced player. Even the top pros refrain from using much side spin. Tip number 9. When using any type of spin, aim to contact the cue ball within a half ball radius to avoid a miscue. At this miscue limit, the cue tip appears to be offset by more than a half ball because the contact point is not in the center. Also, don't flirt with the miscue limit too much or you might end up embarrassing yourself. Tip number 10. Get familiar with how the cue ball deflects for your cue stick when using side spin. When shooting with side spin, the cue ball will deflect or squirt in the opposite direction, dramatically reducing your accuracy unless you've practiced those side spin shots.
We're talking about practice, man.
If you found these tips helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more pool and billiards content. Thanks for watching. Keep practicing, and may all your shots be on target.